N6KTH with Anacapa School, over. NA1SS, NA1SS, NA1SS. This is N6KTH with Anacapa School, over.
November 6 Kilo Tango Hotel, this is November Alpha 1 Sierra Sierra, over.
We copy you loud and clear. Here's your first question.
Loud and clear as well. Good afternoon or good morning.
Hello, this is Laura. I was wondering, what are some of your favorite research projects on the ISS? Over.
Good question, Laura. For me, my favorite research projects have to do with how we can help our human body on Earth as well as here in space. For instance, we use ultrasound to try to capture images that normally we get with MRI in the ground, and the application there is for countries that are not as fortunate as ours have an easier access to ultrasound than they do MRI. And that's exciting for me to think that it'll help folks all around the world.
Hi, I'm Byron. What happens to all of your wastewater and trash on the ISS? Over.
Well, our wastewater becomes tomorrow's coffee, so to speak. We reuse all of our wastewater and process it through a really special system that works remarkably well. But we just keep collecting it in large bags. This is regular everyday trash, and then periodically on cargo ships we'll send it off to burn a fiery death in the atmosphere.
Hi, this is Hayden, and I am wondering, are there ever any culture clashes or misunderstandings between the international crew members? Over.
A very good question. In fact, it can be kind of a funny answer. Sometimes we all relatively speak Russian, and the Russians most speak English, but there's often times when we don't understand words and we mix the words up, and those I find are the most humorous clashes, when we think we have the right word and we misplace with a word that's either inappropriate or just doesn't make any sense, and that can be quite funny. The cultural clashes, not so much up here. We've learned those lessons over the last several years training back and forth in Russia and America.
Hi, I'm Leah, and I was wondering, what do you miss most from Earth while on the ISS? Over.
Well, besides my family, I would say a humongous bowl of really good ice cream.
Hello, this is Sam, KK6EMJ. If you could change something about the design or layout of the ISS, what would it be? Over.
That's a great question, Sam. And I think what I would do is put more windows on. We have a cupola, which is fantastic, looking down at the Earth. And if I looked out right now, off to my left, I'd see the coast of California. And the Japanese modules has a couple windows, but there's not enough. You can never have enough windows in a spacecraft, no matter what you think the design will be at the beginning of your design process.
Hi, I'm Jen, KJ6UGH, and I was wondering if weightlessness affects your dreams, and if so, how?
Well, I'm not really a dreamer on Earth, and I haven't had that many dreams up here. Just a few normal ones. Nothing has been too particularly crazy, but what is hard to get used to is what to do with your hands when you go to sleep. They sort of float out in front of you, and I tend to keep them underneath my sleeping bag, and that keeps them secure. But that has caused me to have a little weird kind of dreams about my hands floating up and around, because they actually were.
Hi, I'm Cassidy. I was wondering if you kept a journal while you're in space to cope with the small living spaces. Over.
No, I don't have a journal. What I do is I talk to my family every day. We have the ability to call on the phone if the satellite coverage works. And I find that the space we live in is about the size of a refrigerator. That's our personal space. And that's plenty of room when you have the whole volume of it to use. It's plenty of room to escape from any of the rigors of the daily life if you want to get away from anybody or anything like that.
Hi, I'm Orion, KK6EMK, and I was wondering how often do you get to talk to your families?
Once a week, we have a video conference set up through Mission Control, much like Skype or FaceTime, although it's not those applications. And like I just mentioned, we also, depending on where we are in the orbit and the satellite coverage, we can make a telephone call through our computer. We put on a headset and talk into the computer, and to them it rings on their telephone. So every day or so, maybe every other day, I talk.
Hi, this is Timmy, and I'm wondering, as a kid, did you always want to be an astronaut, or when you grew up, were you planning to have a different career? Over.
That's a good question. When I was a kid, when I was your age, I never even thought about being an astronaut. A lot of astronauts had dreamed about it from when they were very young, but I was a little different. It wasn't something that I thought was possible for me. I never even considered it. It wasn't until I was maybe 25 or 26 when I was in the military and I learned about another guy who had a similar background as me in the SEAL teams who was an astronaut. His name was Bill Shepard. And after meeting him and talking with him, I realized, my background is similar to his. Why don't I just try as well? That sounds like an exciting career, and it ultimately worked out for me, so I got really fortunate. He was the one, Bill Shepard, who motivated me.
Hi, I'm Ethan, and I imagine it takes quite a bit of work to be chosen to be an astronaut. Why do you think you were chosen for this mission?
Yeah, that's the question that all astronauts ask ourselves and ask each other as we're sitting around the campfire, so to speak. There's a boss, chief astronaut, and it's he or she's job to determine who will be the crew czar. The hardest part is just becoming selected to become an astronaut. I was real fortunate and happy when that happened, and then the couple years of waiting to me was okay, because I knew at least it was a long line, so to speak, but I was in the right line to get to space. And then in terms of how specifically I was chosen, it's really about who is ready to fly at that time and who's medically qualified, and who the right personalities are within the mix of the crew is probably another consideration.
Hi, I'm Jade, and I was wondering, what do you do in your free time? Over.
Well, Jade, I mentioned that windows are a fantastic thing to look out and watch the Earth go by. In fact, I used to live in San Diego, so I was just the other day taking pictures of the whole Southern California area. That's one favorite thing. The other favorite thing is to just enjoy the time with my international crew and sit around and talk with them and try to practice my Russian and enjoy this experience with those wonderful guys that are up here with me, and soon-to-be girl.
Hi, I'm Francis, and I was wondering, how long did it take you to prepare to go into space? Over.
Good question, Francis, because I feel like I've been doing it for a long, long time, but I'm really, really ready. It's a hard thing to be up here, to be prepared for all the possible malfunctions and emergency scenarios. So in order to do that, we train for about 2.5 years once you're specifically assigned, but it takes an additional probably 2 years or so to be qualified to be an astronaut after you get chosen. So if you add all that up, the fastest you can get to space from the day you're called by NASA is about 5 years.
Hi, I'm Della, and I was wondering, now that you've been in space, is there anywhere on Earth that you would like to visit in particular? Over.
You know, I was just thinking about that last week, and New Zealand, to me, from up here, looks like a fantastic place to visit. It has all kinds of different terrain, beautiful coastline, and looks like a place that would be really intriguing to go see.
Hi, this is Alan, KK6EMI. Just wondering, how do you deal with illness of a crew member? Over.
Well, a lot of crews have a doctor as part of the crew. It's not a requirement. It just works out sometimes to be that way. In fact, Tom Marshburn just left last week, and he was a doctor. But right now, we have no doctors on board. So in order to prepare for that, all of us are trained in basically emergency medicine, the airway, breathing, circulation type things. And there's doctors on console and mission control all the time. that can help us over the radio via telemedicine to deal with anything beyond what we can handle immediately ourselves.
Hi, I'm Diego, and I was wondering how you cope with the small living quarters. Over.
Diego, it's not really hard. It's just with the whole volume of 3D space, it feels pretty large, and I enjoy it. In fact, sometimes I go upside down to change my viewpoint inside my small areas, and that seems to work.
Hi, I'm Isaac, and how long did it take to fly to the International Space Station?
I didn't hear you, but it sounds. Thanks so much for being with me. This is November Alpha 1 Sierra Sierra out. Have a fantastic day in California.
Thank you very much.